There we go, and we're live. Nicky Hawkins here, West Ham Fan TV with the boys. Friday night pint. Are West Ham going to sue the FA for £100 million? That's the news coming out right now. Is Graham Potter need to win more games before the end of the season to stop the critics from getting in the sack? That's something that we're going to be discussing as well. 4 players needed in the summer, according to Potter, which pretty much means we're going to be relying on people that we've already got and the youth. And who is the most famous West Ham fan you know? A little picture that I put up on the internet last week is caused a storm. So we're going to be asking that throughout the show. But it is Friday night. It is Friday night pint. I am with Lawless. Sorry, this side. I am with Scotty, this side. We are promoting the Fresh Ego Kid hats once again. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show, guys. The link is in the description down below. You get 10% off with the code. Let me play the little overlay that we got. There we go. So the Fresh Ego Kid hats are up on the website right now. The link is in the description down below. You get 10% off of our code, and it all goes towards sponsoring, promoting, or helping the channel. And seeing as we haven't had any content for 2 weeks, I think we pretty much need it. I have been deathly ill. I'm going to say that right now. People were asking me, where am I? Scott phoned me up on Sunday. Scott, where did I think I was on Sunday?
You didn't even know what day of the week it was, mate.
I didn't even know what day of the week it was. I've had tonsillitis. It's the worst thing I've ever had in my life. It took me a week to be able to swallow anything.
It took me an hour to try and work out what you was actually saying.
Yeah, I couldn't say anything. I couldn't speak. I couldn't talk. I couldn't. So I definitely couldn't travel to Liverpool. Friday night pint last week was off because of it. Yeah, all of the stuff. And I have had a bit of a sad week this week as well. I buried my dad this week on Wednesday, so rest in peace, Dad. It was a lovely send-off. It was a good old-fashioned East End knees up to see him off. And he had bubbles blowing out the back of the hearse as he was following it down the road, and bubbles was blaring over the speaker. So a proper West Ham send-off. But thanks very much for all the messages. I will get round to everyone to say thank you for all the messages. I very much do appreciate them, and I know my family do appreciate them. So thank you so much. I do really appreciate it. WrestleMania weekend this weekend, and I've got something for us to compete for over the summer. So in the summer, we're going to be competing in a few sports like darts and pool and foot golf and things like that to the channel. And I've got one of these. WrestleMania weekend, and this is what we're going to be competing for. WWE title belt, a West Ham one. It's a European Legacy belt, which we got off the internet. It's got all of the stuff on the front. It's got a couple of jewels on the front, and on the back, it's got a little message. I don't know if you can see it. I'm not promoting these or anything. I'm just saying what we're going to put. The hotter the furnace, the stronger the iron. So there we go.
It's going to look really nice in my room.
Yeah, look really nice in mine.
What have you ever won on this channel, Scott? What have you ever won?
Well, it's about time I won something, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, listen, mate. I'm the fucking undefeated.
Hang on. Dan, we've got to go back a long time, mate. Crossbar challenge, won that, and the first ever quiz, I won that. So.
I'm the undefeated quiz king, mate. Don't forget it.
Well, yeah, a quiz will be part of it this summer. But whoever averages the most challenges every week is going to take the title belt home for good. It's yours to keep. Kapush. Yeah. So there we go. Nicky, when are you defending the West Ham title in a triple threat match? I should defend it now, shouldn't I? So yeah, maybe fighting will be one of them.
Yeah. Hardcore 24/7 rules, Nick. Anytime, any place.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Somebody said, Nicky, wear the belt on a match day around your waist. I don't even think it fits around my fucking waist.
That would be a great forfeit to go to football with the belt.
Walking down to your seat with it over your shoulder.
Oh, imagine what a tool you'd look like. Hey, I'm the champion.
But you'd have to wait until the place was packed so everyone's in there to see.
Do you know what would be worse? Like if we got battered and then you've got to fucking walk around afterwards, everyone's pissed off.
Yeah, but ain't that what fucking what's his name used to do? God rest his soul. Every day he used to walk around with a title belt. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he had some dodgy boxing belt or something in it. I don't know if it was real. Some YouTube boxing belt, wasn't it, or something?
Forfeit is the full kit and WWE belt and captain's. I'm going to go even better. It's going to be the full goalkeeper's kit.
Oh,
what, the horrible pink one?
No, the luminous yellow one.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Just so you stand out a bit more.
Just so you stand out a bit more, so you look like a right plonker going along with this title. But so let's get straight into the subjects then. The FA are under a bit of pressure at the moment. We still haven't heard anything about Lucas Paqueta. We still haven't heard any details regarding, I haven't. I don't know whether you have any details regarding his case. And it seems to be every passing day that they haven't got much to go on with Lucas Paqueta. The news come out last week that Lucas Paqueta was on, which is part of his defence, which maybe it was a couple of weeks ago now. What part of his defence was, he was on the eve of a big move to Manchester City, and one of the games he got booking in, which he got accused of getting booking on purpose, he'd asked not to play for because he was going to Manchester City, and we had to play him because we had nobody else available. £100 million he's meant to be. Now, as we reported as well, that even if he does beat the case, that he will be sold. So we'll be discussing that a little bit. Is that right? Is that wrong? Do you want to see him go? Is it justified? Is he justified with it? All of that stuff. But £100 million could be sued for the FA. Could go in the coffers, boys. Could be a big bit of business for us.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be huge. I mean, like I said, I haven't been on any social media for the past week or so. So I'm so at touch with West Ham news. So I haven't seen the details of this. But if that all went to West Ham, and then we got a transfer fee on top of that, that's our summer. Like off of one situation. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's one player sold, 100 million quid off the FA. And then, it's before we've sold anyone else. So, and I think we should definitely. They've caused us so much ag. I did see in my sort of quick little research I did trying to find out about this topic beforehand that it's looking likely that he will get off. He will get away with it. Especially if, apparently something to do with David Moyes thing has helped testimony. So it's just going to be about then. What can we get? They might settle and give us we'll give you this instead of taking them to court. The only problem is it will take a long time, wouldn't it? Like, if we did sue them for 100 mil, we probably won't get it for this summer. I said that's our summer.
No, do you think it would be fair? Do you think it would be subject? I mean, the details are sketchy on this, but you've got to think, if they do get off of it, Scott, there's got to be some sort of legal action. I think Paqueta would be doing one, but we could even argue that it's the reason why we're not doing as well this season.
Do you know what, mate? I really can't see how they're going to sue. I really can't see it, because at the end of the day, it's a case he's been took to court. If he's found innocent, he's found innocent. He could probably sue on defamation of character, but I don't quite get.
It's not court. It's FA. He's not gone to court.
So if we're saying it's just an FA investigation in that sense, it's going to be hard to be sued, I think. Anyway, I can't see it. The FA are within their rights to investigate something, and at the end of an investigation, you have to have a hearing. So, I think the way they've gone about it has probably been the wrong way. It should have been all kept a bit quieter. They need to be looking at why these sort of things are leaked and stuff like that. But I can't see it.
Let me just put it this way. Should they have charged him when they charged him? Because it was over 2 years ago that they charged him.
No, this is the thing. They should have done it and sorted out the hearing straight away. It's dragged on far, far too long. It's obviously affected him in some ways, and he has got a right to sort of try and claim something, but I don't see how the club could sue, if you get what I mean. I can see how he could, defamation of character, stress, anxiety, it's affecting his
also cost us a sale in that summer that we was about to sell him. The sale fell through.
But the thing though, Dan, is that it proved that the sale was going to go ahead. Proved that the sale was nailed on.
They might have it. I don't know if they have the proof or not. I mean, they'll know if they have that in emails, and things like that show, we're interested, bids. But
then they'd need an email or something from City going, we don't want him now because he's under investigation.
Well, they might not. But it's obvious they can look at the timings, and it's not necessarily going to go, we don't want him now because he's under investigation. But
could
I
they
think that there's a lot.
Sorry, mate. Could they claim back for his wages? We've had to pay him.
We probably got more of a chance to claim back his wages if he's found guilty, because they've took so long to drag the situation out. Do you know what I mean? That's how I look at it.
So you think a legal case may be built on more solid foundations if he's found guilty?
Yeah, because then, like I said, it took 2 years for this to come about, or 18 months for this to come about. You know, as I said, they should have done the investigating before it all come out. They should have done all that and then took it to a hearing there and then. They shouldn't have dragged their feet in the length of time it's done. You know, it's a bit like all this City stuff with them. You know, all the cases. They find them guilty. They want to take it to court or try. It should all be done and dusted as quick as possible. It shouldn't drag on the length of time it's dragged on.
It wasn't so much an investigation. It was a manhunt. That's what it was. Is they wanted to find him guilty, right? That's why they had all that business with his phone, where they had his phone for X amount of time, months and months, didn't find anything on it, give it back to him, and then later on go, oh, actually, we need to look at your phone again after he's already chucked away because he's got a new phone or giving it away.
But what I don't understand is if it's not a legal thing, right? How they've got the right to go through his phone in the first place.
Well,
so he must have given him his phone under his own goodwill, because they've got no legal right to take your phone off you. You know, this is the thing. The old Bill ain't got a legal right to take the phone off you without probable cause.
I don't know what the that was one of the things that they're going to charge him for with probable cause, which is, again, to put a man's career on the line for probable cause is madness, in my opinion. I do think there's going to be legal ramifications. I think football itself, and I think the FA and the Premier League have got themselves into this situation. You know, I don't think they had much to charge him. If they didn't have anything to charge him on, you don't charge someone and then start investigating. You investigate and then, you know, make the charge. They made the charge because they was running out of time to build the evidence. And what they have done is that they have affected his career. They've affected West Ham's placings. They've affected West Ham's earnings. They've affected West Ham's potential to get the best out of a superstar or Man City's you know, ability to get the best out of a superstar, because you know they've chucked all of this shade at him without any evidence. They charged him because they was running out of time. If they didn't have the evidence to charge him, they should have just let it go. Like this is, I think they're sort of making a rod for their own back here.
We have to realise as well, there's a lot of information we don't have. So if West Ham do decide to sue, they probably have a feeling like they could win. Otherwise, why would they waste their time and money? Because there's things that they're privy to about the case that on the outside, you could look at it and think, well, yeah, it's a normal investigation. They've conducted it. He got away with it. He was found not guilty in the end or whatever. There weren't enough evidence. That's normal. So there might have been things in the process that wasn't done properly or something like that, that West Ham, again, it's not been confirmed that they're definitely suing. Obviously, nothing's official. But if it does happen, you have to think that there's something there that the club have seen that they feel they have a chance of winning. Otherwise, they're just going to waste time and money if they're doing it just because, oh, there's a chance we could get some money. No, you have to have some inkling that you have a chance of winning. So we'll see what comes to fruition with that.
It will be interesting. It will be interesting because, you know, this could be a big thing if the FA lose this one. You know, it could have massive ramifications on them.
Sorry, Scott. If they don't find him guilty, is this going to be the biggest case in terms of financial entanglement, let's call it, between a club and the FA? Because you're running into hundreds of millions of pounds here. You know, you know, he's going to be suing for lost earnings, because I'm sure he'll be earning a lot more at Manchester City than he would have been earning here. We're going to be suing for transfer fees that we lost, plus wages paid out that we may not have had to pay out if it had been here, plus interest, I would imagine. I mean, this, you know, you're talking about big business here, and this is what worries me about football, is the fact that they've got the small term mentality, like they're running a Sunday league team. When you're thinking about now football is not football like it used to be 40, 50 years ago. Football is a massive business now, multi-million-pound business. You know, people's livelihoods and reputations are on the line, running football clubs and losing money and making money and all that sort of thing. The whole football clubs are on the line with one deal.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not like like the old days when they used to, you know, just charge anyone willy-nilly and they're finding them hundreds of pounds. This is millions and millions and millions. This is like tens of millions, hundreds of millions. You know, what would be the ramifications if they lost the case and then had to pay out West Ham? Would that would you think that would change the way they sort of approach things? Would it have to go over to some sort of independent adjudicator to stop this thing from happening again? Because this is careless.
Yeah, it's, you can't. You know, the problem is that there's the FA are meant to be the governing body that oversees, you know, football, and you've got too many fingers in too many pies. Is in the sense of the Premier League and things like that. You know, it's too much influence from outside influences, in my opinion. You know, you should have somebody who's completely independent to everything. You know, not a football fan, you know, that type of thing. That they've got nothing to gain from any of these. You know, it's the same across the board with football. It's just ridiculous the way it's managed from FIFA all the way down. You know, it's just a joke because it's so open to corruption and things like that. And you know, you've got conspiracy theories all the time popping up with different bits and pieces of stuff like that. And having someone independent look into it probably would have been a better thing for the FA.
But could they?
Because then that way they don't drag the case out the length of time. They can sit there and say, all right, we've had allegations that this player has carried out, you know, illegal betting or whatever it is. Pass it to an independent adjudicator. Let them investigate it behind the scenes before it comes out. Right, we're gonna, you know, we're charging you with this, that, or the other. Let someone investigate it. Then come in and say, right, yeah, bang on, he's guilty. You've got to charge him. That's what needs to happen. Because otherwise, you get situations like this where it just drags and drags and drags and drags.
So listen, hopefully we can soon. We do soon. I tell you what, though, Scott, if we do need that statement from Man City to say, yeah, we didn't sign him because of the allegations, I bet you they would do it.
Oh, 100%.
Without a doubt. Like
100%.
Just to stick it to the FA. Like, I bet you they'd do it. So,
mate, the thing is with the charges they've got hanging over their head, mate, that could bring down the Premier League if they get not guilty on all their charges, mate. That will bring down the Premier League, absolutely. You know, and it's this week they'll be chomping at the bit to get one over the FA at the minute. So it wouldn't surprise me if they wouldn't.
Absolutely. Take some comments, please. Somebody.
My camera's blocking most of the chat, so.
Scott's balancing is on a fucking on one of them spindle things out of thingy.
Mate, I've got my judo board.
Must be relation. I bet he gets all that time. Oh, you're related to Jared. Nicky, Scott, Dan, Nick Tucker, Brian, and anyone else who wants to take part in a Royal Rumble for the belt. Right. And you know what? The thing is, Nick, right? In wrestling, there's a rule. You can't punch with a closed fist. So none of that boxing malarkey. Yeah, you think you can do us all in a Rumble, right? With a few hooks and jabs, mate. That's against the rules. But we'll all get Nicky out first, like they used to do to the Big Show. You know, we'll all gang up on him and get him out. So I'm up for it. I'm up for it. The FA had to investigate, but the time it's taken is out of order, 100%. They ruined his career. I think they've impacted it for sure. Out of court deal and a good cup draw next year. Yeah. You know it's in their power.
We should get the Arsenal Cup draw for a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get bloody Preston at home or fucking Walsall. Sounds like the FA are lacking in evidence, so it could be argued that the case should have never been pursued. Yeah. Kimbo surely can sue for loss of earnings. He's lost 18 months of wages from City. Payback for Sheffield United stitch up in 2007. Yeah, that'd be nice. We should get 125, in my opinion, because we were getting 80 to 85 million for Man City, and they included Cole Palmer in the deal. And then the FA intervened and Chelsea signed Cole Palmer for 35, 45 million, and we missed out. I'll tell you what, the way he's been playing this season, we ain't missed out much.
No, mate. The first half of the season, the way that kid was playing was unbelievable. It's mad how he's dropped off a cliff. He was the best player in the Premier League for the first half of the season.
Mate, he couldn't even do it against Legia Warsaw the other night.
The old club's dropped off a cliff at the minute.
Yeah, we'd love to see it. We need to recruit well, otherwise another boring season. We need to go for a domestic trophy, says Paulie Walnuts. West Ham, right again. Macho Man Randy Savage, Macho Man Randy Sullivan will beat you. I would love to see an edit of David Sullivan as Macho Man, like with the full get up. Someone's got to do that on AI or something.
On AI?
Yeah, someone's got to do that. David Sullivan as Macho Man.
They should do him as one of them toys. You know them toys that they do.
Oh yeah. I think there was a Big Sam figure. Richard says big game tomorrow. Man City come to Goodison for the last time. See that. Let's see what happens. Obviously, Everton are doing well. Good luck. I'm rooting for Man City. Millions on the line. They must have some rights because he got extra charges for not handing the phone back again. Yeah, I think that was just a bullshit charge because they didn't get anything off his phone the first time. And they got egg on their face. Matthew Shah says you can't leave a person hanging out to dry for 18 months and not expect blowback with. Yep. Nick Tucker says condolences. Nicky, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Happy birthday tomorrow, Nick.
Huh?
Tucker. Nick Tucker's birthday tomorrow. So happy birthday tomorrow.
Yeah, tell him that. I'll tell him that tomorrow at the game.
I will do.
If he comes.
He'll be there.
I'm not saying happy birthday, Nick, until I see you at the game. So it's already been proved he was going to City for 85 million. He didn't want to play against Bournemouth, so he didn't get injured. Jason Croucher, defamation of character. FA would be fucked if they sued and lose. They ain't got no money. Yeah. The FA needs to be broken up.
Making that bullshit charges for the next 10 years for people.
This is it, isn't it? That's what they'll do. FA and Premier League just want money. The backs on that. Paqueta on a pole match. Like Buff Bagwell's mum on a pole match. They had in WCW, didn't they?
Fuck off, did they have that?
Shut up. You didn't know about that. You did not know about that.
Pole match. I'm not having that. Buff Bagwell's mum on a pole match.
Yes. Did you not know about that? Vince Russo, he booked it.
Dildo on a stick match.
If you look at the picture, it's fucking hilarious. This woman, this old lady, up there.
Fuck off! I'm not having it. I'm gonna have to look. Find a picture. I'm not surprised. I am not surprised.
It's how's Graham, lads?
He's all good. He's all good. He's very good at the minute. To be honest, he's very good. He's in a good place, so he's all right.
Yeah.
Good on him. Oh look, I've got a picture here of Buff Bagwell's mum on a pole, right?
Why did she stay on a pole?
Well, she went on. They called it on a pole, but she was on like a forklift or something. And they had to. There it is.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
There it is. They put her up there, and then they had to wrestle for her.
Jesus Christ!
There we go. The year 2000 WCW.
Oh
there
God!
Right. They had Viagra on a pole match as well.
Oh fuck off! I bet that was Scott Steiner.
Yeah, something. Ric Flair or something was involved. Something Viagra on a pole match.
Listen, we'll get into the next subjects now, but I'm going to throw something out to the audience. We're going to have a little sub-subject today. This tweet that I tweeted out a couple of weeks ago, and obviously I was going to tell you this last week. I was sitting at the West Ham game against who did we play? Bournemouth. I was sitting at the West Ham game against Bournemouth, and my boy started making a bit of a stir next to me. And he's telling me that this geezer in front of me was a YouTuber called Dan TDM. I was thinking, who the fuck's Dan TDM for a start? And then I remember Dan TDM is a very famous YouTuber, and I took Jamie to see him in a show, and he's the least likely West Ham fan that you'll ever fucking see in your life, right? So I'm saying to him, it's definitely not him. It's definitely not him. It's definitely not him. My boy is sitting there adamant that it's him. And I tell you what, bang, there you go. It was fucking him. There's my boy with Dan TDM, which has got to be, I've got to say this, right? It's caused a bit of a stir on the internet because there's a lot of people whose childhood that geezer made. And they're saying, no, how can he support West Ham? He's the least likely West Ham fan there is. And I did ask him, are you a West Ham fan? He goes, well, I am now. So he is a West Ham fan. He's the most recent.
Now?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, you have to ask him.
It wasn't until now.
Maybe.
What a time he's picked to start supporting us. Jesus.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, he was there. He was sitting in the cheap seats with us. Multi-millionaire, multi-million subscribers on YouTube, and he's sitting there right in front of us in Block 229. But there we go. So who is the least likely West Ham fan that you know? The famous people that you know. I'm going to pull up one here, right? And there's two, right? Batista, he's a West Ham fan. Yeah. Batista.
Yeah.
And Barack Obama, he's meant to be a West Ham fan.
Yeah. Yeah, that one, apparently he came to a game or something with his cousin the year before he was obviously the president. And Noel Edmonds surprised me when I found that out. I love Noel Edmonds, and I was proper impressed when I found out. Him and Jeremy Carr was the other one. You know, he spent all that time shouting at people on the dole and that, calling you jobless bum and all that, and he's trying to be a West Ham fan.
So we'll start. John Cleese, yeah. We'll start starring these, and we'll come back to them after the next subject. What's the next subject, Scott?
We're just going on to actually. Apparently, this is just a quick one. Oh, I'm trying to fucking start that. Just a quick one is that Paqueta. Apparently, Man City are going to go back in for Paqueta in the summer. That's what a Man City fan sent me.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this. They're going back in for him, and I don't know if I'm that bothered. Like if he goes, because we've seen there's a talented player there, but we haven't seen the consistency. So if we could get a good fee for him, it clears a lot of money of his wages off the books because he's on over 100 grand, 120 grand a week. And then we get a good fee for him, and then Potter can go and get someone, and maybe that's going to be a bit more consistent. He's such a good player. We just don't see it week to week to week, and that's no good. So I would be fine with that if we got a decent amount of money for him to go see. What about you,
mate? It's a tough one because the thing is, the player when he on his day, he's our best player. Ability-wise, he's our best player. But
when is that day?
Yeah, that's the problem. We haven't seen it, and I do think that if City do want to come back in for him, I think he'll suit City a lot more than what he suits us. If I'm being honest.
Yeah. Right. Next subject.
Next subject is the Potter's come out and said 4 players are needed. So we're going to heavily have to rely on the youngsters like George Murphy and Potts. And also with Aguerd coming back, does he fit into the new style that we're going to see from the manager?
Well, I don't think he said that we're going to be reliant on 4 players. I think he said that that's what we're going to need because he's looking at Murphy. He's looking at Potsy come back into the first team. He obviously sees something in Aguerd that he can use, which I think, to be fair, I think he's right in the way that we play. So he's looking at another centre back and another 2 forwards, I believe. We also have got a couple of players out injured at the moment, so like Somerville and Antonio, who's rumoured to be getting a new contract back. But 4 players, does that surprise you a little bit when you think about the players that may be going as well? Kudus, Paqueta. Do you think it's 4 players after them or 4 players before them?
Well, look, that we know that. Well, we'll get on to Antonio in a bit, but we know a lot of these players, like Ings and that, are going to go. I think it's all well and good saying, "Oh, Earthy and Potts and Aguerd." Like, it's great if these players can come in and be good enough and hit the ground running, but we don't know that. That's an unknown quantity. You don't want to have to go into a season relying on players you don't know you can rely on. Like, just because they've got talent, we don't know how they're going to perform week to week to week. We don't know how long it's going to take them to get up to speed with things. And a lot of the time with youngsters, I always think it's good to use them and not rely on them and not put that pressure on where, so you can give them minutes off the bench. You can start them here and there, but not like, well, Earthy's the be-all and end-all in the midfield. Like, we don't need someone else because Earthy's there. Like, that's not a good approach to me. I think 4 players you should be saying 4 players minimum. That's what it should be. And like I said, there's a lot of crap that we need to get, a lot of deadwood we need to get out. So whatever happens, 4 players is the minimum. Whoever goes and stay, like I said, I want to see.
I'm with you, mate. 4 players is a must just on the players that are going out who are out of contract. That's without before we ship out anybody else. It's another striker is desperately needed. If Aguerd isn't the answer as centre back, then when another centre back's needed, another midfielder's needed, and we need another right back. That's 4 positions straight away that we need players for, and that's without letting anyone go.
Well, and let's not forget as well, we've got players like Somerville and Fulkrug who we don't know if we can rely on to stay fit going forward.
There's worries about. I've heard this week that there's worries about Fulkrug's fitness to even make a half.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think he's been brilliant since he's come back. You know what I mean? Like, he's been a real handful. He's been a real bright spark of the season. I mean, as you said, as we know, what's his name? Fucking hell, I forget his name now. That's how fucking impactful he's been. What's his name? The Irish kid. Come on, quick.
Oh, Ferguson.
Ferguson. Sorry,
Irving.
Isn't he?
Yeah,
whatsoever. Yeah, so he's made no impact whatsoever for my money. You know what I mean? I think it's a shame because I was really looking forward to him, but he obviously weren't fit enough to come straight in and make an impact. And the few impacts he has made, he's fucked up. Let's be fair. So yeah, when you think about that, and you got this, 35-year-old Mikel Antonio, she's coming off the back of a fucking car crash that we'll probably have up front next season. Danny Ings is going. Fulkrug, they don't even know whether he can make an half. We need at least 2 forwards, in my opinion. And that is without losing Paqueta. That is without losing Kudus. Maybe Bowen. You never know. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I can't see that though. I can't see.
I wouldn't trust this fucking dwarf with my fucking bag of eggs. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't trust him with nothing. A big offer comes in, all this money coming in. Yeah, I wouldn't trust him. You know what I mean? But as I say, 4 players is crazy. When you're thinking about the midfield, the way the midfield is, putting 2 inexperienced midfielders in there. Bearing in mind we could be losing Paqueta, and to put Earthy and Potsy in there for the season, I think would be mad to rely on them too.
And we don't want to go back to the days, when we had Moyes and we had the paper-thin squad, and especially in this day and age, because each season, injuries in general are becoming more and more common in football. You look at the level of injuries this season across the board, all teams. I haven't seen the numbers or anything. This is just what it appears to me. Like, it's never been higher than that. Like, so many clubs. Injuries, it's mad. So you're thinking about that next season. Like, we're gonna get injuries. So if we have a paper thin squad, we're asking for trouble.
And that's the thing as well, though, mate. You've also still got to take into account we're the oldest squad in the Premier League at the moment, I think.
Yeah.
If not the oldest, one of the oldest. And this is a problem. I know the likes of Ings, who are in his 30s and going out the door. Antonio
Creswell.
All due respect, I think needs to go out the door. And we need to bring this average age of the side down. We can't keep relying on players that are over 30. Look, there's nothing wrong with being over 30. There's Luka Modric is still playing for Real Madrid at 40 years old. It's some people, age is just a number, but you can't consistently rely on a squad full of aging players. There's no future there. And
we're not going to sign any elite over 30s at all.
Yeah, and that's the problem, mate. And when you look at Somerville, like you said, he's had that injury. Apparently, the operation they want him to have is very similar to what Antonio had. And after Antonio had that operation, he never had a hamstring injury again. But Somerville's choosing to heal naturally. So, you don't know whether that's going to flare up again come pre-season because he's not played for a long period of time. As you said, there's questions over Fulkrug.
They're going to have to manage him carefully, aren't they?
They're going to have to manage a lot of players carefully. But
Soufal's going as well. We forgot about Soufal.
Yep. He's another one. Right. Exactly. And this is what I'm saying. You can't then, you then, with Soufal going out the door, Wan-Bissaka's your only real out-and-out right back. You're looking to make do if you've got another player within the squad who can play in that position.
It's Mavropanos,
yeah. Matthew Sherrard says it's been coming. The cup winners papered over a lot of cracks. I do agree with that in a way, because Moyes didn't leave the. I know, and I don't want to keep on reverting back to Moyes, and obviously there's always going to be arguments about Moyes and the Lopetegui thing and all that. Should we have got rid of him? I mean, on paper, it looks like we shouldn't have, but I don't look at it on paper. I look at it on the pitch, and I knew what I was seeing on the pitch, and it was an aging squad. Lopetegui wasn't the right man. Listen, there's a lot of people in the summer. Every club in that Premier League thought we'd won the transfer window when we'd signed players. Listen, I think there is some positives. It's been a fucking awful season. I'm going to be honest with you, right? And this is the God's honest truth in terms of the season, how bad this season's been. I was in bed with tonsillitis. I could not eat and I could not drink anything. I was in bed for a week straight. I kept on drifting in and out of consciousness where the infection was getting to me. I was virus. And I looked at it and I woke up on a Monday morning, right? And I looked at it and I knew I'd missed the Liverpool game. And I looked at it and thought, thank fuck I had tonsillitis. And that sums up the season to me. I know it was. I know it sounds fucking stupid, but I swear down, I thought 2-1 loss. Thank fuck I had tonsillitis yesterday, and that sums up our season, how shitty and how boring it's been. And I don't think it's just us. The whole fucking Premier League has been fucking boring this year. And I've seen some brilliant games, and I've seen some fucking diabolical games this year. But in terms of the whole thing's been diabolical. I've renewed my season ticket. And renewed my boy's season ticket, that poor bastard, and I don't think he wanted to go. And a lot of people that's the way this season is done. Maybe we've been spoiled because of the cup win and because of the trips around Europe. Maybe we have. Maybe we're ungrateful. We have got no rights to do anything. And let's be honest, although we're pretty close to 40 points now in the next couple of games, I think we'll get there, and that's normally the mark. There's been no danger this season for anybody. Them 3 teams at the bottom have been so far apart from everybody else that it's been, the teams have been able to coast. There's been no fight at the bottom. There's nobody in trouble. Nobody, apart from Wolves at one point, and they've pulled above us. They've
won 4 in a spin. On the spin, they have.
Right. It's and that is how poor this season's been. The fucking standard of football's poor and all that, but. Maybe it'll get better next season. I think you've got to give Potter a chance. I think Potter's, all of this 3 and 13 and all that sort of thing. I do think that if we needed wins, I think we would have got wins. And I don't think the performances. I look back at the performance against Liverpool. I don't think it was that bad. I don't think it was bad. I think we played very well in the second half. First half was a bit of a bombardment. They have been rocking a little bit, but I don't think it was that bad. I thought we was unlucky to lose the game. But it hasn't been exciting. It hasn't been exciting at all.
But also, we're touching on Potter with the critics that are coming out and things like that. You look at some of the games that we have. There's been some diabolical performances. Even the Leicester win was an awful game. But we had the Arsenal win, which was a great performance. Lost to Chelsea, didn't really deserve that. Lost to Liverpool, didn't really deserve that one. So there's a lot of hope there. Going into next season, we are harder to beat. And that's the key thing, because we were so easy to roll over under Lopetegui. I know we got more wins under him, but 4-1 win over Ipswich. Ipswich at that moment in time were absolutely awful. We scraped a win over against Southampton, which we were probably one of them games we were unlucky not to lose. Lucky not to lose, sorry, not unlucky not to lose. So there's been a few diabolical performances, but it's just that, like you said, mate, because there's nothing to play for and nothing. I think we win. If we win tomorrow, we're mathematically safe, and the Premier League's basically done down the bottom.
Yeah,
but
It's
for me personally, it's embarrassing for us that we are in the position that we're in. We've gone from winning a European trophy in the space of 2 seasons to struggling to finish above teams like Wolves and Everton.
That does happen, Scott. I mean, you're talking about. I remember Leicester getting to the quarterfinals of Champions League, and within 2 seasons they was down.
Oh yeah, of course, it does.
It does happen. And that's always what I said. You have to, maintain them standards. You don't maintain the standards, and you don't push on. You'll drop like a stone, because there are teams out there that have got, and teams are starting to work this out. Look, it's a shit league, and the teams at the top are playing shit football, but there is teams that are working out how to get results by employing good staff, good managers, and all that sort of thing. We're just not one of them, and we've never been one, because we haven't got proper football people in charge. People that they're let's be honest, they're car boot fucking salesmen with a lot of money. That's all they are.
The thing is, Nick, when you look at this season, right, I would actually say that you've been more entertained watching the likes of Bournemouth, Fulham, Nottingham Forest, Brighton, than you have watching the likes of Man City, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, and those.
Absolutely.
To be fair, right? To be fair, they're in a shit position in the league, but it's probably more entertaining watching Spurs than watching some of them other sides. That's how bad the Premier League's been.
I don't know if Spurs fans found it so entertaining.
No, I wouldn't. It's been entertaining from our point of view.
You know what the funny thing is, like, as shit Spurs and Man United have been, one of them could be playing Champions League football next season.
I know, mate.
That's how immense it is. And it makes me laugh, right? Is when we won that Conference League, a lot of people used the fact that we finished 14th as a stick to beat us and that trophy with, look, a team that's 14th can win that trophy. Look at Spurs, and they could potentially win the Europa League being down there themselves, and how bad they are. So it is fun. No one's making that narrative against the Europa League to downplay it. So we'll see, innit? Like how that comes about.
Listen, I will say this as well before we move on. Congratulations to all 4 of them teams. Congratulations, because they've done really. Arsenal especially was, and I'll mention him. Our boy was fucking magnificent in both games. That's what boy. Our old boy.
Your boy.
All right, my boy. My boy was absolutely fucking magnificent in both games. I thought he was a class above everyone on the pitch on both nights, to be quite honest with you. And that's why they paid big money for him. But even Spurs, congratulations. That's a fucking tough place to go to. Frankfurt, I've been there. That is not easy. That is not easy to go to and win, and they won. Man United, what a fucking game that was. They've done their best. They've done their best to fuck it up, but they didn't. And Chelsea as well. Mate,
the thing with Chelsea, once again, they showed that Chelsea have shown how difficult that competition is to remain unbeaten all the way through.
I don't think they're going to win it. I
fancy Fiorentina.
Yeah, so do I.
Do you know what? They've been to the final multiple times now, not won it yet, have they, Fiorentina? So they're due it. But it shows you, as always about the standard how shit football is in the league. In Europe, like, look at in European football, how shit the teams are, like performing. Like Real Madrid, this is probably one of the worst Real Madrids we've seen in a long time. You know what I mean? Europa League, Champions League. Look at Villa and PSG, how they're able to, like Villa, so poor in the league, going toe-to-toe with these teams. Man City out, Atletico Madrid. I think in general, Europe and domestic, it is one of the poorest seasons.
I think Chelsea will stumble to the. This is my predictions to the Conference League. I think they will. Just if Fiorentina don't win it, I think Atletico Bilbao will win the Europa League, and I think Barcelona are going to win the Champions League. But there we go. That's my prediction. That's my 3 predictions.
Do you know what, mate? I think I can see a clean sweep of all English clubs. I really can. I can see it. I think
Good for
Piss
us.
off, Scott. Piss
Chelsea
off.
Fiorentina will be the final, and it'll be a hard one to predict. And I just said I can see Fiorentina win it because they've been in there, like you said, Dan, final twice, not won it. But I can see a European clean sweep for all the English clubs. I think Arsenal now are the best team in that competition.
Think Barcelona going to win the Champions League?
I think Arsenal.
It's none of that. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. We don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that. Get out of it, Scott.
Dan, I know you don't like them, mate. I know you don't like them, and we're not particularly big fan. But you got to say they was impressive.
They were.
Oh, I can't deny it. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to say they're shit. They've done well.
Yeah,
they've done well. However, it's not.
And Man United, I can see them scabbing the Europa League. I really can.
They always fucking do and all, don't they? Little shit bags.
They are. No matter how shit they are, they do. They win something, didn't they?
Do you know the worst thing, though? And we could potentially see Arsenal and Tottenham win a trophy in the same season.
Oof.
Listen, let's just hope no English teams win anything this year. That's what I want.
Imagine how unbearable that summer's going to be.
I don't give a shit what they do. But listen, let's go back. Revisit the most famous, most unlikely West Ham fans. If you want to add some, boys, you add some. John Cleese is a West Ham fan. Mr. Basil Fawlty himself. Triple H apparently is a West Ham fan. Jason Momoa.
I heard this recently.
Chicken himself.
Fuck off it. You when they say I saw a clip of that Minecraft film, Nick. Was it as bad? Because this clip, right? Kids were fucking running all over the place, throwing stuff in the air.
It wasn't like that here. I took my boy to see it. I quite enjoyed it. I must admit, I quite enjoyed it.
I've got to take my boy's going to see it with his friends soon.
I quite enjoyed it. It was.
Have your boys even played Minecraft, Scott? Because I thought.
No, but his best friend in school does, and he wants to go to cinema with him to watch it. So
it's just typical modern Hollywood slop. Do you know what I mean?
With the hammer. But there we go. Pixie Lott, which I think that was pretty much well known.
Who is she again? What does she sing? I know she's a singer.
Yeah, I've got no clue, mate. I wouldn't be able to tell you. Lennox Lewis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bonnie Walnut says Peter Sutcliffe was in the ICF, but I don't think that's true. Josiah Greenmoth, Katy Perry.
No, I don't think that's true. She was with Russell Brand. Yeah, she just wore the West Ham lingerie for Russell Brand, didn't she? She had the thing on and all that. I don't think she's legit West Ham.
TSC 777 wasn't Nigel Farage a West Ham fan, or was it Palace? I think it was Palace. I'm going to be honest.
I don't think it was West Ham.
Mr. Deal or No Deal himself, Noel Edmonds.
Noel's house party, that's what I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Noel's house party, yeah, Mr. Blobby and all that. Alfred Hitchcock, the famous director.
That's the one that surprised me the most, Alfred Hitchcock.
He's an East End boy. He's from Leytonstone.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mia Khalifa, which is one that Nick Tucker's come up with. Triple H and Seth Rollins. I think I've seen Kurt Angle and Ric Flair in West Ham shirts, but I don't know. I wouldn't call them fans.
I met Kurt Angle. I said, "Are you a West Ham fan?" He was like, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, you do the cross hammers with me?" And he got a picture doing the cross hammers. So, yeah, he did. I got a picture somewhere. He did it. He did the picture. He looked like he was like, "For fuck's sake, just go let's do it."
Probably the most famous West Ham fan of all, which was rumoured. There's obviously no proof now. The late Queen Elizabeth II was meant to be a West Ham fan, which was
I thought fucking irons.
I thought it was meant to be her mum. I'm going to be honest. I thought she was an Arsenal fan, but I have heard this before. Keira Knightley, the
Pirates of the
Caribbean actress, Bend It Like Beckham, Russell Brand, which I think is probably one of the most well known. Chris Akabusi, he's on the Hammer Chat.
Wow.
He's been on our channel quite a few times. Sally Gunnell is a West Ham fan. I remember Sally Gunnell. Yeah, I remember. I do remember hearing that. Yeah, I do remember hearing that. A couple of good ones here. Connor Ben. Now, I've heard this could be a rumor because Nick Tucker has told me something about Nigel Ben, that he wasn't really a West Ham fan, but I'll leave that to him to tell the story just in case he don't want to tell it. Ben Shepherd. Says Jason Crouch. I think that was pretty much well known. This is a good one, right? And I know this is true. Matt Damon.
Yep.
Matt Damon is a West Ham fan. Kurt Angle and Triple H. I'm going to put one more in there that I know. That was pretty. Actually, I've got two. Stone Cold Steve Austin is meant to be one.
Well, he did come to the game years ago, didn't he?
His kids live in Basildon, or used to live in Basildon.
They live in Basildon, yeah, that's true. And fuck me, what's his name? Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl's meant to be a big West Ham.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, he's at our stadium, and he's been to our stadium probably more than Nick Tucker this season. You know? So
Elijah Wood was one, weren't he? From Green Street. Yeah. Olizan Ruzic.
Horschel, which is the American golfer, which I know is a big West Ham fan because he walks around with West Ham fucking golf clubs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's true.
Chesney Hawks.
Yeah, they're not less unlikely.
No.
Nick Berry, is that the comedian? No, or is that the guy from EastEnders?
Yeah, EastEnders in a heartbeat. Nick Berry.
Yeah. David Wick.
Yeah. With David Wick. Wasn't he in London's Burning as well? Was he in London's Burning? Or just Heartbeat?
No.
I despised Heartbeat with a burning passion.
Who was the West Ham fan in London's Burning? Was it George something?
No, it was the big geezer.
Yeah, what was his name?
I forget his name.
Dark-haired fella.
It's not important. David Essex. I used to see David Essex. He used to sit in front of me in the Bobby Moore every now and then. But there we go. Max Bygraves. Glenn Murray is his name.
Glenn Murray, that's it.
I remember seeing Phil Jupiter at a West Ham game years ago at Upton Park from Never Mind the Buzzcocks.
Steve Harris, West Ham fan. Ray Winston, obviously. Yeah, they're obvious ones. But yeah, good ones. Last subject then before we start previewing the Southampton game for tomorrow. Scott, Dan, do you know what we got?
We're talking about Antonio's contract, wasn't it?
I think we touched on it. Now, do you think, right, this is an opinion piece, okay, I'll ask it. Do you think that Potter needs to win a good majority of these games? Do you think he needs to win tomorrow and the Man United game and the Tottenham game to get some fucking momentum going? Otherwise, the critics are there. 3 out of 13 games, you know, the stats ain't lying. Or could he be up for the sack again? This is just opinion. Well, this is no reports. This is just opinions between yourselves.
I think, again, it depends on what's on. He doesn't need to win these games to keep his job, in my opinion. I don't think there's any... I think fans thinking, you know, if you want Potter out now, you put it out of your mind, because there's no way that they're just going to sack him now in the summer. I think they've got just a normal break clause at the end of next season where we can get rid of him for nothing. So he's going to be here. Yeah, like you will need to get it in your mind. He will be here for at least another season, barring us looking like we're going down, right? So he doesn't need to in that regard. In terms of getting some positivity and getting some belief in the fan base, maybe getting some of the critics on side, then yes, he does. Like, which I would like to see something from this team to see what he can do with the tools he's got. But we have to remember this is 2 previous managers, some more even. Some of these players have been in multiple managers. So at the end of the day, there's only so much you can really expect from him. We've got to give him a fair chance in the summer. I think a lot of fans are looking at this run of form and going, "Oh, look, he weren't as look at him at Brighton. Actually, when you look at, he didn't do this good. And look at him here, he actually didn't do it." I don't think it's fair. He's here now. I think we just give him a fair go at it. Like, he's going to have the summer. He's got this Kyle McCauley, who's apparently hard at work now, trying to identify players. Let's just see what he can do when he's given the tools. If he's given the tools and we're not seeing improvements, by all means, like, he's got to go. But it's just pointless at this stage. That's why I'm checked out, like, of the football of the season. A lot of fans are, because it feels like you can't really have an opinion about it. Yeah, you can't do anything. Like, the manager's not going to get sacked. There's no point asking for the manager to get sacked. There's no point thinking about it. It is right now, as the overused phrase is, it is what it is. We just got to wait till next season. It's just it's a lengthy preseason, except we ain't got any new signings in. So You know,
yeah, I'm with you, mate. Big time. He ain't going nowhere. There's no thing and you have seen an improvement. I said we we touched on it earlier. We are a lot harder to beat than we were. The individual errors have slowly subsided a bit more to the fact that Mavropanos hasn't been starting as much. But it's the position we're in. With the talented players we've got. Look, we can sit back and look back when we got relegated with all the top talent we had there. Talent doesn't mean a thing if you're not playing as a team. But we shouldn't be sitting full from bottom. We're a better side than Wolves. We're a better side than Everton. And this is the biggest thing that he's got. He's not done enough to get us finishing above sides like that. This is
We've had
the thing.
enough chances, haven't we? Let's be honest. I mean, as I know we've played well against the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal and all that, but we've had teams like Wolves. Like, I know Wolves have gone on a little run, but fuck me, I went up there and they was fucking awful. It was just two awful teams. We had the Palace game at home. We had the other one where we lost 1-0 at home. Some of it's been fucking tepid, but some of it's been decent.
This is it. It's very inconsistent, the performances.
Yeah.
Very inconsistent. But it's just the fact that I'd be more worried, right, if we weren't creating chances. Then I'd be really, really worried, because you see against Liverpool, I think we hit the bar twice, didn't we? Fulkrug should have done better with his chance. I think in another game, I can't remember what it was. Again, Fulkrug could have done better with a chance. We had another one where Ferguson should have scored. So it's missed chances.
Week to week, I don't think we're creating enough, though, Scott. Week to week.
No, I do agree, mate. We don't create enough, but we are still creating them. Do you know what I mean?
In the side. There's no fluidity in the side. And that's what I think he's got to get. He's got to get, because I think we've struggled this for a few years now. He's got to get a functioning midfield. A functioning midfield. I mean, a midfield that is balanced enough. Listen, I know when Declan was in there, he used to do all the fucking running for everyone. And that is what we're fucking missing at the moment, is that as soon as he's gone, we've got no legs in the midfield. We've got no legs. We haven't replaced him. We should have had more youth in there. We should have signed that. Anana would have been perfect as a replacement for Rice.
That's crazy. We never signed him. Crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, that was his choice. But
and none of this is Potter's fault, though. That's the thing. None of that is Potter's fault.
This is where we've got to get to the summer, and this is why I think it's a little bit unfair. Rodriguez has been a fucking disaster of a signing. Yeah, it's one of the worst signings. When you look at it back at it. Obviously, he had him at his previous club, Lopetegui. It's a job for mates, jobby. You know what I mean? And I thought we'd been past all of that shite.
The fact we let Will Prowse go and got him in is just
got him in. Yeah, he's a fucking joke, to be quite honest with you.
I tell you what, Will Prowse ain't been pulling up any trees lately, is he?
No, but he gets about the pitch a lot more than Rodriguez.
Yeah, he's better than Rodriguez. We can say that he's better than Rodriguez.
Yeah, Mark Penrose has just put it. Dying embers in the engine room, and that is what he needs to do. He needs to reignite that engine room, and he needs to go and find the likes of Casado and the likes of the players like that, and McAllister that he had at Brighton. He needs to go and find them. You know what I mean, and bring them to West Ham, because that is where we're lacking at the moment. The midfield is, when you got a shit midfield, you can't do much. You can't. It's fucking impossible. And when you look at the way we play football. You look at the fluidity of the game and the way we get up the pitch as a team. It's fucking like watching 2 5-a-side teams fucking running side by side with each other. So,
Do you know the problem is, and I did see this. I was talking to my uncle about this the other day. Apparently, Potter and Carl McCall, they're not going to replace Tim Steidten, his role. Instead, Carl McCauley and Potter are going to be selecting and deciding the players. And David Sullivan is going to be negotiating to get those players over the line.
That's where it's going to go wrong. But if he starts pissing about, then,
This is it. So whatever people think about Steidten, I always said this, who would you rather have negotiating players? Tim Steidten or David Sullivan?
Yeah, but maybe that's the role that they should have given Steidten, just a negotiator. But then... Can they be paying people? I don't know.
But you can have someone, even if it's not Steidten, but you can have someone anyone would be better than David Sullivan when it comes to the negotiating.
Yeah, of course it is, because
not in fucking dogs in a negotiation room, and he'd probably be better than David fucking Sullivan.
He just rubs people up the wrong way.
Can't
That's
even
his
spell.
problem.
he ain't the only one who rubs people out the wrong way within the club who has dealings with that type of thing, is he? So that's the thing, mate. That's the biggest worry. He's got his track record. I thought there's a comment there saying I don't see Sullivan backing Potter because he wasn't his choice. The one thing we can't criticise Sullivan for is backing managers lately. He has. I know. Since Continci's come in, there's been a lot more cash been chucked about by the club. So the managers have been backed. It's just not been backed rightly, and there's too many people involved. Yeah, that's what I said. When you look at it, if the rumours are true, you look at 6 of the signings this season. 2 were Stight, 2 were the manager, and 2 were Sullivan. You can't have that. You've got to have one person in charge of the overall transfers. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
You're right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. It doesn't work because the pieces don't. It's like getting 4 different puzzles.
Yep.
3 different puzzles and trying to piece them together. It doesn't work. You need to have one one puzzle, and one person picking the pieces of the puzzle, because nothing else works. The puzzle won't go together if you've got the pieces from different fucking people. So, sorry, I'm just plugging.
Is it? Like I said, it's so. Listen, in the meantime, if you're unsure about Potter, there's no point putting energy into Potter out movement. We've just got. It's horrible. Because it's, you know what I mean? It's your football team. Like, you never want to go to watch West Ham and just feel like, nothing matters. Like,
it's been fucking tempting. It's been horrible.
Yeah, it's not nice, but this is the situation we've been put in through the bad management selection for Lopetegui and the awful squad building of the past few seasons. That's what's led here. It's not just, what's Potter's come in and done and his decisions in game. This is years of squad mismanagement. It's led us to this situation. It's going to take time to get us out of it. So we just got to be patient.
Right.
Do you know what? Before we go, quick, Nick, I want to quickly bring this up because I did see this. Joey Barton, right, has come out and started running his mouth, talking about the time we almost signed him under Slaven Bilic. And remember, like, fans.
Sorry, I'm just going to go wee because I'm going to wee myself. Right.
All right. So the fans, we put it on. They put it on 2-man. 2-man.
Take the square out in the middle.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like, I thought I had one where it was, but yeah. So there it is. There it is. Joe Barton. Yeah. So, we were going to sign him, and on social media, the fans went mad. He had a medical, all of this stuff, and then they didn't sign him. Now, Joey Barton came out and said, no hard feelings, West Ham fans, blah, blah, blah. Now he's got his podcast. I don't know what the fuck it's called. And he's come out and spoke about it. He was going to sign and said that he believes, he has reason to believe it was Mark Noble who basically made the decision that we shouldn't sign him. He put the stop to it. We was going to sign him, and Mark Noble said no. Which, if that's true, thank you, Mark Noble. Legend status increased. And his reasoning why he believes that Mark Noble said no is because he knew that Joe Barton would come in and bench Nobes. Joe Barton, who I believe was like 32 at the time, would come in and put Noble on the bench because he's better. He's always been better than Noble. He was better than Noble. He was clear of him. And that's which is absolute bullshit. Joey Barton could not lace Mark Noble's boots. In fact, someone put the stats up that Mark Noble had nearly double the goals. He had a lot more assists. His pass completion rate was a lot higher. Every single stat you can measure in football, Mark Noble clears Joey Barton for. So for Joey Barton to come in and say he knew I'd bench him, that's why he put a stop to me signing, is fucking hilarious. He knew that you're a fucking clown and you would come in and upset the dressing room and bring your circus with you like all the West Ham fans knew. But I just think you've got to be deluded. For him to think he's even in the same conversation as Noble is pure delusion, mate.
I think
You know,
when you look at Barton probably had a couple of good seasons overall, didn't he? He was all right at City when he was there. You know, it's to sit there and say Noble put the kibosh onto it because he would bench him. Noble's been picked by every single manager at the football club since Noble's been at the football club.
Yeah.
You know, there's been times when he's come out of the side and gone back into the side. And the one thing he's always done is when he needed to prove himself, he proved himself. So if Barton come in and Noble was competing for a space with Barton, Noble would end up winning that war anyway. Because
do you know what?
And that season, look how good Noble was that season as well.
Yeah, that's the best. That season, Noble should have played for England.
Yeah.
Joey Barton at the time, and let me tell you something about Joey Barton. Joey Barton at the time, I remember the time when he was going to time, he couldn't find a club. He was playing for Burnley or something. Nobody wanted. Joey Barton was finished by the time he got there. Now, Joey Barton isn't a bad player. Wasn't a bad player.
He wasn't.
He was a bog standard Premier League player. Yeah, he had a bit of fighting on it. But what Joey Barton was, he was a fucking bully. He was a bully. And he was a scumbag, and he put us. I heard this story the other day. I was listening to a podcast, funny enough. And listen, it's not anything about Joey Barton's opinions that I'm going to say this now, and the reason I wouldn't like him because obviously he didn't have his podcast at the time. Some of his opinions is quite valid. I'm going to say that people do see, and I think this is why people fuck it, and people like Joey Barton have still got careers because people can't give him the credit when he needs the credit, you know, and they have to jump on everything and make everything about it. Some of his opinions, and this is my opinion, right, about women's football is valid, in my opinion. Some of them couldn't lace up the boots of English players and they're not in the same standard. And that's not, I'm not slagging off women's football because it's just fact. It's just facts because of the standards of the games, right? So I'm not going to slag him off. So it's nothing to do with his opinions. I think everyone should be entitled to their own opinion, yeah? And I think everyone should be allowed to voice their own opinion without having everyone jump down their throat, you know, and trying to cancel everyone. So listen, he's just not a nice man, you know? He stubbed a cigar out in a youth player's eye because he reciprocated a joke that he was doing to him all night. Joey Barton was doing something to him. Can't remember what it was, right? He was doing something to him. He was doing something to him, thought it was funny. The youth player done something to him. And instead of just fucking, you know, to telling him, come on, mate, you're out of order, blah, 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 he stubbed a cigar out in the kid's eye. That's the man he was. He was a fucking scumbag. His family, like, and I don't want to, you know, I don't want to get in trouble with the fucking Bartons, that's for fucking sure. But, you know, it doesn't come from good stock. You know, it runs through the family. And that, it's the sort of player, regardless of whether Mark Noble or anything, or whatever, right? That is the type of person, not player, not opinions, person that we don't like at this football club. We don't like people that are bullies. We don't like people that think they're fucking Johnny Big Potatoes. We like people that are fucking salt of the earth people. And Joey Barton is not a salt of the earth person. And it was the fans that rejected him. You know, that would have been a massive mistake. And I, you know, and right, I said at the time, fucking fair play to Joey Barton because he came out on social media and said, look, you don't want me, I won't become. He's come out with his Mark Noble story. Now, again, it's just about relevance. It's just about, you know, grabbing their headlines and all that sort of thing. You know,
he said, like, he'd tell Mark Noble, sit down, soft lad, and watch a real player. Like, all of that, and it's just like, we can all agree, surely we're all in agreement here. Not only was he not better than Mark Noble, wasn't as good as Mark Noble was the better player. We can all agree that. Yeah. We can all, and the stats back it up. Like I said, every single statistic you want to come up with, Mark Noble clears him. So
it's just headlines, mate. He knows that he, you know, it's easy to say post, isn't it? It's easy to say post fact. Oh, I was better than Mark Noble. Of course it is. You know what I mean? Like Mark Noble fucking sat him on his ass every time he played him. So
yeah, but it's just delusional. It was QPR. Yeah, he ended up at Burnley. When we didn't sign him, he went to Burnley.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, so we didn't sign because then he went to Burnley. But yeah, that just come and I just thought, what a load of bollocks! Like,
yeah, he's just trying to grab time, mate.
The fact that we even, and I remember like the fact that we tried to sign him, it summed Sullivan up. I remember like there was some posted some tweets like David Gold pretty much just ripping the shit out of Joey Barton after the fact. So clearly it was Sullivan signing.
Yeah, there you go. Kent Emma's Dan Joey Barton's got what he wants. You're talking about him, so that's all he's all about. He wants clicks. He wants people to talk about him.
Exactly.
Well, look, we talk about stuff here. Look, if he wants clicks, I haven't clicked nothing. I've seen the
clip.
But you know, like I said, it presents an interesting talking point because we go back to that period of time and we can all remember it, and it's just like, yeah,
that was probably Noble's best season as a West Ham player.
Yeah. And there's no way. Do you know what? I can't even think when. Don't forget his attitude. That season, the midfield we had, who would he have played in front of? How would he have got into that?
He wouldn't have got in the side.
He wouldn't have got in the side. No, he'd be lucky to be on the bench in games like the team that we had that season, mate. He gets nowhere near it. It's delusional.
I would have liked to have seen him in that side and with James Collins in there. That's what I'd like to say in training. I bet that would have been a bit feisty. Andy Carroll.
Yeah. He would have fucking sat him down and all the lads. But that is just it. That would have been such a West Ham signing, wouldn't it, Joey Barton?
Yeah. But wasn't Barton at Newcastle when Nolan and Carroll were there?
Yeah.
Thought it was.
Yeah, he probably would have. Yeah. I would have.
If I had to fucking bring that up before we finish.
He's not the first player the fans have stopped us signing. Weren't there the other one that got leaked that we might be signing him and he was under investigation for something, allegedly beating up his girlfriend or something like that. And
I can't remember who that was now.
Yeah, but
there's a couple. There's been a few.
Yeah.
I remember we just came like different. We
like to take a punt on a bad boy, if that makes sense, because he's cheap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lee Bowyer.
Even Payet was meant to be like that. That's why we got him for so cheap.
Well, listen, Payet. I don't know if you lot have heard the rumours.
You were telling me, Dad, about the stories.
Oh yeah. Mate, if it's true, allegedly, that's some beyond freaky, crazy shit.
Yeah. We've all heard the story.
Yeah, I'm so glad he's left now and he's not our legend because I'd be embarrassed if he was our legend hearing that stuff. So he's not. But yeah.
There we go. This has got to be the most random one. Macaulay Culkin.
I remember that picture.
Yeah. Macaulay Culkin, eh? I wonder. It is random, some of these fans that you see and you think.
Right, let's start wrapping up then, boys. Because we've got to get up early tomorrow.
Big game tomorrow. Must win.
Oh, wait. This makes it all right. He meant to stub the cigar on the back of his head and he turned around.
Oh, yeah. Fucking what a bastard.
I know GP wants
cigar. That's what he's trying to say.
But yeah, Southampton must win. No excuses. No two ways about it.
It's got to be a big one. It's got to be a big one and all. Let's get the ball rolling and all. Right? You got them two. We've got Man United and we've got Tottenham, right? 2 wins there could start cheering the place up a little bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're going to be fucking concentrating on their semi-finals of the league. They can't go down, of the Europa League. They can't go down.
Amarim's already said he's going to start playing kids in the league. Like, we have to finish above.
Yeah, we have to do that. You know what I mean? We've got good chance to do so now. So, yeah, let's get at the last, what we got left? 7 games, 3-4 wins. Yeah. I think the place will be a better place in the summer. There we go.
And it's possible, mate. It is possible to get them, starting tomorrow. And it needs to be tomorrow. Because what I don't want is we rock up there tomorrow and Southampton go and get a 1-0 win.
Mate, if that happens...
That's me done. That's me done for the season, honestly. If that happens, yeah.
Yeah, because this is the thing, isn't it? I just feel like a lot of the players, they're on the beat. And this is the thing. They can go and put in a performance at Anfield because, they're under the spotlight. Mm-hmm. All the eyes are on them. But can they get themselves up for Southampton at home? when we're clearly the favourites, even though we've been crap. That's the thing, isn't it? And they have to show their professionalism tomorrow and realise the importance of putting them to the sword.
Yep.
Because if they don't, boy, and this is what I'm saying, they can all sit there and some of these players go, oh, well, I'm not going to be here next season. Drive your value down, then why don't you? Because that's all they're doing. Every time they kick a ball, a lot of these players are just driving their value into the ground.
But the thing is, mate, if that's an attitude, don't fucking play unless play someone who actually wants to play for the badge.
That's it. To me, Potter is besides the point. Whatever 11 are on that pitch should be able to beat Southampton.
Yep.
They're down. Yep. They should be able to put in the effort and go for it and win tomorrow. Even if it, like I said, I think we should slap them up. But even if it's 1-0, 2 or whatever, Potter's besides the point. Any of the combination of those players should win tomorrow. So they have to take responsibility. 100%.
Totally, mate. Totally.
So, yeah, no two ways about it. Southampton have got nothing to play for.
Right, let's wrap it up there then. Thank you very much for joining us on this edition of West Ham Fan TV's Friday Night Pint. We'll be back again tomorrow with all the content leading up to Southampton game and the post-match interviews afterwards as well. And I suppose we'll do a little post-match pint tomorrow. We'll see as it's going to be nice. I'm spitting. Nice and sunny. I hope you're having a lovely Easter, everyone. Don't forget to go and grab your fresh Ego hats, which the boys are sporting here. Mine does. I have got one myself, but it does disappear sometimes on the green screen. So I'll keep that off.
Get yourself a blue screen.
You need to get a blue screen. That's exactly it. So go and grab that in the link in the description below. 10% off when you use the code that's in the description. Thank you very much. One thing left for us to say. Come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons.